I've been getting this card for a while now in readings, and it's the Five of Pentacles, and I wasn't quite sure what it meant. Sure, I knew the interpretations. I know that Pentacles is the earthly realm, five is the number of creativity, of play, and that access to your inner child and applying that to the habits, but something just wasn't right with this image because I knew there was more to this message. And last night I finally figured it out. Last night, it finally dawned on me what is happening on Earth. I started this huge spiritual journey last year with one of my first videos on YouTube that Earth is a game, the Matrix, and a school, which is where we enter the spiritual stuff. But there's a third component that I completely did not see, and that is the structure of the prison. Earth is also a prison. So when we incarnate into families that are karmic, meaning families that have not really advanced their spiritual evolution on an individual level, and they keep attracting the same partners to show them where they need to grow, that is essentially a karmic family. It's a family that gives you tough love, it gives you a lot of conditional love because they don't know any other type of love. They don't know how to do the work, or they're refusing to do the work, so you kind of enter that family to be that reminder, to be the mirror for them. But because you enter the game, just like anybody else, your memory is wiped. You forget all about it. And if you've chosen to incarnate into a family that is part of the prison structure because they just simply aren't learning the lessons lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, or they have done some awful things in the past, like past lifetimes, they are still carrying those life sentences. And by life sentence, we mean the next lifetime they have, that is their life sentence. It's not the life sentence that you go in an actual prison. The life sentence is on your soul, and you have to experience a timeline, a lifestyle, a storyline in your next lifetime where you're going to be experiencing the effects of what you have done to other people. That is the karma, essentially. So finally figure out what this card means. And once again, it is connected to the karmic family, because if you've come to Earth within a karmic structure, that means you were raised with a lot of trauma on an emotional or mental level. And you had a lot of narcissistic people around you because of that trauma. And that's not just your family, that's because of the trauma that was inflicted, because your needs weren't met, essentially. You had to build coping mechanisms, and that attracted narcissists within your closest friendships, within the workplace, within your relationships. So the impact your trauma had on you was that you had a lot of narcissists attracted to you because you were wounded. And what this image really represents is that when you enter the game, other people already knew they were in prison. Their souls, their spirit knew they were in prison, but you forgot that you were the light worker. You forgot that you're here to break the cycles. You forgot that you're not actually in prison. You forgot that you're actually volunteering. You're visiting that prison so that you can help others learn the lesson and pass their life sentence a lot faster. But because you forgot that you are the light worker, that you are the visitor, that you are a creator, that you're the architect of this prison, so to speak, they used that memory loss that you had, the temporary memory loss that we all experience when we are born onto Earth, to fool you, to gaslight you into believing that you are a prisoner of your circumstances, to disempower you with everything they could throw your way. And this is done on a spiritual level a lot more than it is done on a conscious level into the actual reality that you're experiencing. So if you ever felt resistance, if you ever felt like you weren't supported, that probably is the truth, because on a spiritual level, other people's spirits were battling yours. And the biggest breakthrough moment for me was that they weren't actually battling you, that avatar, or even your soul. They were battling your connection to God, to the Creator, to the Most High. They were battling the connection that you have with your own light, because even when you're broken, even when you're wounded, even when you're trapped, you are still surrounded by your light. It's just that you don't see that light, but everybody else sees it. And because they see it, they see their darkness, they see their shadows. And so in the process of you being stuck in this prison, because essentially you were walking around freely, because that's how you're supposed to go through life. You're supposed to inspire people or awaken them, help them learn the lessons. You know what happens when we've seen that in movies and in real life, when people go to prison, they start prison educational reformations where they start to learn, they go to the library, they start increasing their literacy. Essentially, they are building their intelligence so that they can leave the prison earlier. Well, it's the same with this prison, the earthly prison. The more you learn the lessons, the sooner you can get out of these circumstances, but you have to really mean it. You have to really want to do the work and better yourself. And you are meant to be that teacher that comes into people's lives and reminds them, brings them that balance, brings them that divine assistance, that divine justice. And essentially people thought they can play with you because you didn't know who you were, but they knew who you were. And they also knew that if they were to trap you, if they were to use your free will against you so that you can actually lock yourself in a cell because you thought you were unworthy of anything and everything, you would actually stay there. And because they had trapped you, they had made deals to trap you, they would get a Hail Mary pass. And some people have been getting away with that. Yes, there have been some prisoners, spiritually speaking, that were meant to be trapped because they were serving a life sentence in their lifetime, which means those people, some of the people in your life that are going to work 9 to 5, that always have to come back home, that always have to be stuck in one location, that is part of their karma. And that is part of their life sentence in this lifetime. They're not meant to innovate in this time. They're not meant to do something great or something that connects to a community. They're meant to stick with themselves, with their thoughts, so they can figure it out. They can figure out that higher self-integration so that they don't come back here and do the same things, because it's not advancing humanity. It's not advancing anyone else. And essentially, there are people that have destiny swapped with you, and they've tried to play the role that you're meant to play here without understanding how it all works, without understanding that a 1 in a million chance maybe is probably a very good odds in that case, that they can be actually successful with something that is God-given. If God has given you the power to be the person that brings balance into others' lives, and somebody traps you into a prison cell, persuading you that you are unworthy of love, when you are quite literally the embodiment of love, that is not karma. That is a life sentence for a lifetime. That is something that is going to haunt people for a couple of lifetimes, I would say. And one of the reasons we have this structure continuing with wars on Earth is because the people that are currently having their life sentences are people that used to be in those war zones. They're the people that used to play those wars and take people's lives. If you believe in the earthly plane as something that hosts our souls, that it's not just a matrix where we're just code, where there is an implication to the consciousness level, that every time you destroy something or someone intentionally, this creates a dark connection within the fabric of the universe. And so the people that are currently on a life sentence where they have to battle some serious disease perhaps, or where they're stuck in monotony, or where they have children that are with special needs, and I'm not saying that is a life sentence, I'm saying that that requires them to slow down and do more of the inner work. Because if you are given something that challenges you, that pushes you to expand your ability to love and care for others, you are required to do more of the inner work. And a lot of people just don't want to grow up. They don't want to do the work. They would rather go out and destroy, because it's so much easier, because their consciousness on some level remembers they have done something like that in the past. And that's the reason the war on Earth is continuing, because the entities that are currently controlling the earthly plane, and the image that I got was pretty much that the industries that are tasked with making sure that Earth operates properly on the 3D plane are working with galactic federations too. It's not that they are not connected, they're just connected to very dark galactic federations that would like the war to continue, because if the war continues, we're gonna keep the earthly plane as a prison planet for the souls, where they need to keep reincarnating because they have life sentences, because they continue to create karma. And unfortunately, they have trapped a lot of light workers in their own heads and in their own hearts by persuading them that they are the problem, when they are in fact the way showers.